Hey everyone, I'm the Saxophone Oracle with an encore presentation of one of my earliest videos. I strive to bring you great content on a weekly basis. I upload every Tuesday. However, that's not always possible. It's the reality of life. Fortunately for you, though, hardly anyone knows who the Saxophone Oracle is. And we can all change that by going ahead and clicking subscribe if you haven't already done so. That being said, I'm quite sure this will be a new video to most of you, if not all of you. I'm a little shy sharing some of my older work, but I think you might find it interesting to see how I've progressed over the last year and a half. The video quality has certainly gotten better, and I think my style and presentation in general has come a long way as well. The information itself, well, that's evergreen, so I really hope you'll find it useful, even though it may be a little rough around the edges. Hey everyone, I'm the Saxophone Oracle. This week we're going to talk about minor 7 chords, and we're going to look at a couple ways that we can approach improvising over the minor 7 chord other than using the Dorian scale. In jazz education, there's a lot of talk about what we call chord-scale relationships. So it's really a simple concept. You have a chord that you need to improvise over, so what is the related scale? What scale should we play to sound good on that chord? So if it's a major chord, we would play the Ionian scale or the major passing tone scale. If it's a dominant chord, we'd play the Mixolydian scale or the Mixolydian passing tone scale. An altered chord, the altered scale. And a minor 7 chord, the Dorian scale, etc. This makes sense for a lot of reasons. Firstly, when we have chord scale relationship, when you have that chord, typically the scale that they suggest we use is the go-to scale. It's going to be our first choice. But also it's a great way of codifying the information so that the learner can easily digest it. And it's a practical approach. So it gives a concrete guideline of how to approach improvising over a certain chord, right? This scale goes to this chord. However, as the expression goes, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So what I'm going to show you today are 2 approaches we can use over a minor 7 chord that aren't the Dorian scale. And when I started figuring this out and applying it, it really made a big difference to my playing. And I think that if you learn to hear these things and learn how to apply them, then it's going to open a whole world of colors that you can add when you're improvising and making music. 2 approaches. The first is something called tonicization, so tonicizing the minor 7 chord. And so that's going to give us a different scale choice than perhaps the Dorian scale. The second one is we're going to determine what the true function is of the minor 7 chord. How is it functioning? And then maybe we have a different scale choice or a better scale choice that we can use when we're improvising rather than the Dorian scale. Tonicizing the minor 7 chord. Okay, first of all, what is tonicization? It's a fancy theoretical term, but basically in music we have the tonic chord. It's our 1 chord, it's our home base. And when we use the term tonicization, what we're doing is we're taking a different chord that's not actually our 1 chord, and we're temporarily treating it so that it sounds as though it's the 1 chord. Okay, so this chord functions as something else, but temporarily we're making it sound as if it's our home base. How do we tonicize a chord? It's really pretty simple. So if we have the chord, we're going to draw on stuff from its dominant chord, okay? Not the dominant chord of the key, but its dominant chord. So if we're in the key of C, for example, the dominant is G. G7 is the 5 chord. Now let's look at the 2 chord, D minor 7. So if we want to make that tonicized, if we want to make it sound temporarily as the 1 chord, we're going to play something that comes from A7, because A7 is the 5 of D minor. So we might go D minor, dip into something from A7 back to D minor, and then go on our merry way, G7 to C major. That's it. The way that I like to demonstrate tonicization is by using a fragment of the introductory melody of the song Bebop. So not the style of music Bebop, but the actual song Bebop by Dizzy Gillespie. I think Dizzy wrote it. And the way it works, this is in minor, and the minor chord is actually the 1 chord, and it goes 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5. 2 beats each. So say for example, D minor for 2 beats, A7 for 2 beats, D minor for 2 beats, A7 for 2 beats, D minor, so on and so forth. So in this case, it's actually home bass. But if we were to play this line over a minor 7 chord elsewhere, it's going to sound really cool because we're making it sound as if that's temporarily the home bass. I'm sure many of you are already familiar with this line, but here's how it goes. It's part of the introduction from the tune Bebop. One more time. Now, to hear tonicization applied, what I've done is I got a backing track of this funk kind of groove with a minor 7 chord. So it's not a tonic minor, but it's a minor 7. And I'm going to demonstrate by playing that line from Bebop over it in 3 different ways. One is 8th notes, one is 16th notes, one is quarter notes. So 3 different speeds, so you can hear how it sounds when we tonicize that minor 7 chord. Now I want to demonstrate how this can be applied functionally with a 2-5-1, for example. So I'm going to take a 2-5-1 in C, D minor 7, G7, C7. But the examples I'm going to play, I'm going to be approaching it as though the chords are D minor for 2 beats, A7 for 2 beats, D minor for 2 beats, then G7 for 2 beats, then C. So D minor, A, D minor, G, C. Mind you, the underlying chords on the backing track are D minor for a bar, G7 for a bar, C major for a bar. So I'm demonstrating how we can tonicize the 2 chord and get a different color than just simply treating it as a Dorian scale. Hopefully you hear that, and hopefully you can see what's kind of going on there. So instead of taking the notes of Dorian, D, E, F, G, A, B, C natural, we're now borrowing from the harmonic minor, because the harmonic minor is related to the 5 chords. So D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C sharp to D. So the C sharp being the 3rd of the A7 chord, right? It's as simple as that. So we have a new option. Instead of playing Dorian minor, we can draw on A7 using the D harmonic minor scale. Now I want to demonstrate the second approach. So the scale, or how we're going to treat this minor 7 chord, is going to be determined by what the function is. Okay, so a minor chord, when it's a tonic or a home bass, it's typically a minor 6 chord or a minor major 7. But a minor 7 chord is typically a predominant or a subdominant, you might call it. So in the case of the 2-5-1, right, we have 2 minor 7, which prepares us for the 5-7, G7 to 1. The thing is, in music, sometimes the minor 7 chord does function as a tonic. And the perfect example of this is in a minor blues, like Mr. PC or a song like that. let's quickly analyze a minor blues in the key of D minor. So we have D minor 7 for 4 bars, then we go G minor 7 for 2 bars, back to D minor 7, then we go to B flat 7, the flat 6 dominant, A7, the dominant chord, to D minor 7, right? We're not using D minor 6 or D minor major 7, but we're using a D minor 7 chord. So it's really functioning as a tonic, even though it's a minor 7 chord, not really a tonic chord. Because of this, yes, the Dorian scale is your go-to scale, but if it's a tonic, we could play a scale that relates to the tonic function, namely the melodic minor, at least the melodic minor ascending. So D, E, F, G, A, B, and then instead of C natural, C sharp. That's our jazz melodic minor, the ascending melodic minor scale. And that's something that we would play if the minor chord is the tonic. So even though it might technically clash with the minor 7 chord, it could be a really interesting option because for all intents and purposes, the minor 7 chord is behaving like a tonic. So I'm going to play a couple choruses over D minor blues for tenor saxophone to give you an idea of what it sounds like. Now, is it the best option all the time? I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no, but it's an option that's pretty cool, I think. Let's give it a listen. There you have it. I'll let you decide. As always, I'm going to put up the written examples on the website, www.thesaxophoneoracle, so you can download the PAF, analyze it yourself, see what you think. I'm the Saxophone Oracle. Today we were talking about different ways to approach the minor 7 other than by simply playing the Dorian scale. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it useful and helpful. Please remember, like, share, and subscribe if you can. It would mean the world to me. I love to hear from you, so drop a comment, shoot me an email. As always, thank you so much for continuing to watch. I wish you a great week. Happy practicing. Bye-bye for now. See you next Tuesday.